Commissioner Thomas, if I can get you to do the invocation.
Please join me. Gracious Heavenly Father, we bow before you today. We're just thankful to be here to serve our community. Ask you to just be present with us tonight, guide our hearts and our minds and our actions and everything that we do. Ask us just to have a mercy for the community that we serve and just be with us tonight. Ask you to have a special hand of protection over our first responders, our military, and all they do to keep us safe. In Jesus' name I pray. Amen.
Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right. Thank you, everyone, for being here. Can we get an approval of the agenda?
Mr. Chairman, there is one add-on.
Yes, ma'am.
We request board approval of a resolution in support of the continued designation of a rural area of opportunity for Wakulla County to stay within that designation. The governor has to reappoint it by July of this year. We're requesting that you add that on to the consent agenda.
Can I get an approval with that added on?
Motion to approve with the add.
I have a motion.
Second.
I have a second. All in favor? Aye. Passes 5-0. All right, awards and presentations. Oh, I'm sorry, real quick. Miss Jessica, do we have any citizens to be heard?
None.
I apologize. All right, awards and presentations.
Okay. We have, first off, is presentation Appalachia Regional Resilience Collaborative. Ms. Ladd.
Good afternoon, Commissioners.
Afternoon.
My name is Davina Lade, and I'm the Geospatial Planning Manager and also a Resilience Officer at the Appalachia Regional Planning Council. So I'm here to provide an overview about what the collaborative is and what's the upcoming activity event this month. So the Appalachia, I guess I clicked too fast. Yeah, the collaborative was established in 2020 through an MOU among 9 counties in the region, and that includes Wakulla. The next slides I'm just showing the, seems to be not working. Ooh. Where should I be pointing this? There. Okay, there, yeah. So that's just a snapshot of the MOU. Right, it doesn't seem to be working, sorry. So, sorry about that. So the collaborative, the Regional Resilience Collaborative plays 3 essential roles. So it facilitates the development of a resilience action plan, which is one of the very important document for the Appalachia region to have through this collaborative, with the engagement and involvement of the 9 counties and other stakeholders in the region. It also serves as a centralized forum to talk about what are the resilience deficit in the region. So we have this would be a platform for representatives from the counties and other stakeholders to really come together and discuss what are the priorities for the region and what are the potential funding that we can go for based on the prioritized problems in the region in related to resilience work. The next slide, about the event that I mentioned, on the 22nd this month, we are relaunching the Resilience Collaborative, and it will be held at the Appalachia Regional Planning Council conference room in Tallahassee. But we are also providing a hybrid option to accommodate interested participants to attend virtually. So another reason why we're doing this is to formalize the composition of the working group for this collaborative. So majority of the working group members, in the next slide, this would consist of either planners from the counties, emergency management directors, representatives from the academe or research institute, state agency representatives or community leaders, and from the non-government organizations. So as much as possible, we want it to be a diverse group of professionals and practitioners to really get all those ideas come into one, at the table in one area, and to talk about what matters for the Appalachia region. And the next slide. So the time commitment that we're asking for a member of the working group is about 2 to 4 hours per month, but this is just our estimate based on the other collaboratives that are already doing their thing in other collaboratives from other RPCs, Original Planning Councils within the state of Florida. So this is based on what Tampa Bay is doing, or the East Central Florida Regional Planning Council, that's the name. So, but it can be further, solidified as we really gather this group of interested representatives from the counties, the working group. So it's not set in stone. So it could be more than five hours if they wish to. So it depends on the group. Next slide. So there's 2 of us who are working together to really get this momentum going, launch the Resilience Collaborative, and then keep it going by keeping the conversation going, facilitate potential funding that we can pursue that benefits all 9 counties in the region. So Josh Adams and me, so Josh Adams is the environmental planning manager, and I'm also leading the geospatial planning manager, but we're both working together when it comes to resilience work through the Appalachia Regional Collaborative. So I'm happy to answer any questions. And thank you to those who quickly responded to the invitation. So Commissioner Messersmith, Brandon, Summer, and Jennifer, I believe. If I miss somebody, yeah, they've responded, but I'm extending the invitation to everybody.
I don't have a choice, correct? Right? We're going to have a good time, right?
We're going to have a good time.
I asked for something that was going to be my question about Jennifer. So I was going to get Jess to go back the slide, but we're all on the same page. Good. Okay.
Great.
Thank you, ma'am.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
All right, next up is Ned Nobles. He's going to give an update on our wastewater operations overview and current expansion project progress. Thank you, Ed.
Hey, good evening, commissioners, staff. My name is Ned Nobles, if you hadn't met me, with ESG Operations Infomark, and we've been maintaining and operating your sewer system since 2006. Just wanted to give you kind of an update, State of the Union, and show you a little bit of what's happened in the last 12 months. So currently, what the scope of your utility operations, what it covers is Otter Creek Water Reclamation Facility or wastewater plant, and 104 sewer pump stations that go along with that, and that number is changing almost daily. And we'll go into that later. And then about 1,200 miles of combination of gravity and sewer force main, that's pressurized line, and then a small water system out at Newport RV Park. We utilize a 17-person full-time employee staff, 2 admins, 1 being myself and Ms. Taylor in the office, and then we have 5 plant operators operating the Otter Creek plant in Newport, and then 10 utility techs that are out in the field doing your daily corrective maintenance and preventive maintenance, greasing things, turning wrenches, things like that. So all about the numbers, we'll look at operations first. We divide out the house in operations, talking about the sewer plant, and then field services, which is out at the pump stations and doing maintenance. Otter Creek flows currently daily average 850,000 gallons of sewer a day that it's getting in the front door from all over the county. That equates to about 310 million gallons a year that we treat, goes through it and gets treated. Nothing goes past us that doesn't get treated, right? If it gets to us, it's getting treated. In the past 12 months, Otter Creek has treated 1.9 million gallons of septic tank waste from septic haulers. And septic to sewer abandonments made up less than 500,000 gallons of that. So when somebody comes to you and says, I don't know why we need to look at sewer expansions, my septic tank is fine. Well, we could have the debate about efficiencies and the environment later, but they say that they're not a stakeholder in the sewer plant. Well, that's wrong, because when they get their maintenance pump, it's going to the sewer plant. Wakulla Sands Golf Course receives the treated effluent from the Otter Creek plant 4 to 7 days, and they irrigate their golf course with it. Right now, we sent over 125 million gallons last year, which is our current permitted max. So that's sending 500,000 gallons a day to the golf course, about 4 days a week. Right now, we're getting the permit upped so that we'll be able to send almost 2 million gallons, 1.8 million gallons there, which is also the expansion out at the wastewater plant that we're doing right now. That's what that permit for treatment will be up to. Total nitrogen, it's one of the main focuses of the Otter Creek plant. I don't know if y'all have heard of total nitrogen, or anybody makes phone calls or emails to you about nitrogen in the ground and the water. But that's what we steer the plant towards. We're looking at the biologics, which are nitrogen and phosphorus, and the different nitrogen compounds. Daily we get in 50,000 milligrams per liter of nitrogen. That's 350, or equates to 350 pounds of nitrogen into the plant every day. That's what's coming to us. And we get that out the back door at less than 1.6 currently, which is less than 11 pounds a day. So we're taking that 350 pounds of nitrogen a day and burning it down through nitrification and then denitrification process, and then turns into just straight nitrogen gas and burns off in the atmosphere, or get biological uptake. And we're left with 11 pounds that goes out the back door and goes either to the spray field for hay at the Otter Creek plant or to the golf course. So that's the 99% plus efficiencies there. So then we swap to the other side, and we're looking at, we're looking at maintenance, okay? Got a picture of the Otter Creek plant there and a crane pulling the screening facility out of the elevated headworks right there. And that's something that happens a couple of times a year for preventive and corrective maintenance. It's taking out all the rags and things that get flushed that shouldn't be flushed out. And because part of what we do at the plant is treat water. But before we can ever treat the first drop of water, we have to take out all the trash that's in the water and deal with that. So that's what that screen does there, and that's my maintenance crew working with the crane operator to take that out, put it on the ground, and then do the maintenance necessary that they need to do. So far in fiscal year 25, we've done over 2,228 work orders. That's every task. That is every motor that's serialized in our catalog, and it has a preventive maintenance work order that's coming out monthly, quarterly, and annually. Come grease me, do a bearing check on me, and do inspections. And then certain motors and pumps have oil changes too that need to get done. Staff completed 3,500 utility locate tickets in 2024. And why that's significant is that's one guy that's almost his full-time job, is he's out there putting those little green flags down the side of the road, or green spray paint marks down the side of the road. If you ever drive down, you see red flags, blue flags, green flags, white flags. That's what those are. Somebody has called in, hey, I want to dig, and 811 calls all the utility owners and says, come locate your stuff so that we don't shoot something through it, which that happens, and go out and fix a broke pipe at that point. 5 years ago, we did 1,500 locates in a year. And so a lot of that is the 4-laning projects running concurrently. And as they layered the laminate soils up, they would wipe out the locates, and they'd call the very next day, say, come locate everything again. And you'd have to keep doing it. And there's no way around that because they put 3 feet of dirt on top of what was there yesterday. Had 93 call-outs after hours last year, so when the citizens start having problems in the middle of the night and they call, whether it's their problem or our problem, we have to go investigate because we don't know and we can't assume. Or the little robot telemetry at the pump stations calls, and it tells us that it tried to run a pump and the pump said no, and there's a problem. Come see what my problem is, and we got to go out in the middle of the night and check on that pump station. Staff inspects every commercial kitchen, the grease traps in the county at every commercial kitchen. So all the restaurants, not the schools, they're exempt, but all the restaurants and fooderies in the county, aside from food trucks, which aren't allowed to connect to sewer, they have monthly grease trap inspections, and if they fail those, then we pass them over to code enforcement, and they get dealt with that way after that. Annually, we rehab. We have a program with the county where y'all budgeted us to spend enough money to do 10 to 15 manholes a year. Like, if you take the Panacea sewer that was put in 1986, 1987, you went 30 years before you got a vac truck and the equipment that allowed you to clean and jet those lines and do regular maintenance to those sewer manholes and gravity systems. Now we're doing that on all your gravity around the county, but specifically those went 30 years without any love. And so we started seeing manholes fail a couple of years back. And what this program does is we bring in an outside contractor, and they jump in the manhole, and they have a bypass system where they can be in it while the manhole's live, passing water safely. And then they spray plastic, ABS plastic, and basically put a truck bed liner in the manhole and give it another 40 years to live that they guarantee and warranty. So that's nice. Mostly it's pointed at Ocklawackee Bay, Panacea areas, but we have some in Crawfordville that see higher levels of hydrogen sulfide gases eating away the mortar that we put them up there. Between the Otter Creek plant and the lift stations, there's 193 pumps that get pulled for annual inspection and oil change every year. That's not the only time they get pulled. There's certain pumps that get pulled. We all have our problem children, so it's the same with pumps. Sometimes that pump gets pulled every other week because it needs it, and it's definitely the squeaky pump gets the grease. So after the Ortega expansion that brought us up to 1.2 million in 2018, this is a picture of the plant, Otter Creek plant in 2019. And what you can see is a dry pond in the northwest corner, and the reject pond in the northeast corner. It's lined, but it's dry there. And then the older plant there in the southwest corner, it's actually taken down right there, getting prepared for the next construction project. Halcon came in 2020 and revamped the old 1986 McNeil plant to mimic the air mod process that you see there on the east side, right there running. Also, we're going to see some other buildings pop up. You'll see a lot more movement. So there was 2024. That was about 6 to 8 months ago. And you can see those ponds. You still have the dry pond to the northwest, but the northeast pond has now been enlarged, and the liner's been cut so that they can sew the new liner to it, and they're actually going to line both of those ponds, and they've enlarged them to over 1 million gallons each. And then in the southernmost corner there, you see a round tank being built. That's your new EQ basin, equalization basin. So we're excited about getting that online because that'll help the process overall. It doesn't add capacity for your plant. It helps your level of treatment. Okay? It makes everything run smoother. It makes all the equipment work with less effort. But then slightly to the west of that, south of everything else, you'll see a big square kind of getting put together with some forms, and that's the next treatment train that they're building. So you'll have two air mod trains that are exactly like the 2018 one, and then the one they're currently building right there, and then the old 1986 plant that was rehabbed in 2020. It mimics their technology, but the layout of it is still those old same concrete walls. So now we look at last week. So here we are as of last week. The round tank's built and complete, and it's not online yet, but the structure's there. And the newest process train, D&E, is what it's called. It's online, and you can see some water in it where they're doing some hydro testing, make sure there's no leaks. And then to the north end, you see both of those ponds have been enlarged, lined, and they're full of water and turning and burning. And then you see all kinds of construction going on there to the east. They're pumping concrete in the new headworks that's elevated, and got a pump truck there with the big overhead pumps. Also, you can see the new drying beds and septic receiving facility in the middle, kind of a bright yellow, right in the middle stuff that's not the excavator. And those were built so that we can catch all the drops from the septic truck and nothing's landing on the ground.
What the equalization basin, the tank, the round tank there, what that does, it was two-pronged, is the purpose of the EQ basin is to dose the plant on a regular basis. Currently, the plant is dosed whenever a lift station, one of our major lift station kicks on. So it may sit there for 30 minutes without any flow, and then all of a sudden it'll get, 50, 60 gallons a minute for an extended period of time, according to how many pump stations kick on at the time. So our plant is treating, go without treating. It's in the process of treating, you'll have no inflow, and all of a sudden it gets a big surge of flow. But what the equalization basin will allow us to do is be able to treat flow on a regular basis, steady flow into the plant at all times, so it keeps your biological process more even and better and more efficient. And also what will happen is that tank will actually, he'll be dosing all day, and as you know, the peak hours up until about 8 o'clock at night, that tank will fill up. But then overnight, he'll still be dosing overnight, all night long, and the way it should work, at the beginning of about 6 o'clock in the morning, that tank is almost empty. So then it can all day fill. So that's the purpose of it, is to fill up so that we're dosing that plant on a regular pace basis versus surges. Right now we're doing surges. Also what it did was currently our pumps have to overcome about, what would you say, Justin, 21 feet ahead? Currently, what is that? The influent about 21 feet ahead in our current pump stations, and that means higher head, less volume coming out of our pump station, and less efficient pump stations out of our major pump stations. We're actually able to lower that by about 10 feet of head, if I'm not mistaken, by going to this EQ basin and a lower headworks. And that is one of the benefits of this, is that 10 foot of head is huge when you're talking about pump stations pumping against each other. And we also increase the size of our force mains coming to it, so therefore with more efficient pump stations, our pump stations can handle more capacity. Hickory, for example, now we're at almost at capacity now. Hickory, we're freed up some, going to be freed up even more. So that was the whole purpose of that round tank and those new headworks, was to equalize that flow out. It'll help us efficiently lift stations, force main pressures, and then dose the plant so we get more efficient biological process within the plant. I'm sorry, Ned, go ahead.
All right. Nope. All right. So the new lift stations online in the past 12 months. As we bought the new force main in through the back door of the plant, through the National Forest down Lawhon Mill Road, that allowed us to put the equestrian center on sewer and take out its septic tank. So we got a new small pump station there. The pump station on Shawnee, that is Wakulla Gardens Phase 3 of septic to sewer. Wesley Park, new neighborhood. Chacat, which is Wakulla Gardens Phase 4 sewer, septic to sewer. Duane, which is Magnolia Gardens Phase 4 septic to sewer. Greystone and Pleasant Ridge, which are both new developments. So you can look up there at the 3 on septic to sewer, which is actually those 3 combined are more units than the rest put together. Those were existing lots and houses in Magnolia and Wakulla Gardens that all got brought over to sewer. So that's pretty exciting. On lift station rehab, we try to get ahead of the curve, get ahead of failures. If my guys are bored doing the same preventive maintenance every day, greasing motors and doing inspections, that is what we want, and that means that we're saving money. When we get into spending money is when we're getting out there in the middle of the night doing corrective maintenance, having to pull pumps unexpectedly. So part of that is doing lift station rehabs. In the past year, currently we're working on Jerry, which is part of a staff initiative pulling in mitigation dollars for coastal flooding. And what's going to happen is the control panel and the electrical service going to be brought up to 21 foot above flood elevation there. Also with that, it gets a new wet well hatch and doors that are going to be more flood resistant, and new pumps because it's end of life there. Tide Creek is one that my staff got done with a couple weeks ago. We did that one in-house. It's a small pump station. We were able to take care of putting new pumps and controls in there by ourselves without hurting the workflow from our regular preventive maintenance too much. Lift Station 76, which we had an outside contractor do as part of the force main getting installed down 98, the larger force main. That one was complete earlier this past year, and that one helped immensely. That one was keeping me up at night, trying to keep it going. With all the septic to sewer pressures getting put on and through that pump station, it needed it. And then Medallion Away, we did that one in-house as well, smaller lift station that it was into life. Both that one and Tide Creek were done 20 to 30 years ago and have almost sent dormant. You know, they'll have a couple of houses or a business on them, but don't see much flow or use, and it was their time. So what we're looking at on the left is everybody's favorite thing. Those are wet wipes. Some call them disposable wipes or flushable wipes. It even says right on there, it says count 48 disposable wipes or flushable wipes. You absolutely could flush them down the toilet. And then they're not your problem anymore, now they're mine and your tax dollars. On your right, you'll see that same flushable wipe again and all his friends clogging up a pump. That's one of those unexpected pullings. That pump failed to pump, and we had to go out and pull it, and we can tell. Before we ever pull it, we hook a meter to it, and when it's pulling high amps, but it's trying to cut on without an overheat, we know it's clogged. And we can almost put money on it's a ball of wipes. Wipes are a cotton product, okay? They're not going to dissolve in this decade. It takes a lot of time, and it's not going to happen in our sewer system. They have to be physically removed. If they make it past that pump, which a lot will, then they get to the plant, and that big screening facility I was having to take offline again with the crane, that's what has to pull them out of the water. And the more I put through it, the more I have to do maintenance on that screen, the more I'm renting a crane. I say all this so that hopefully the public hears and they stop flushing them. Nobody's special. You're not a snowflake. You do not get to flush wipes.
Well, and you say just flushing one, and what I don't understand is it costs money, and it's very expensive to run this system, and that adds cost to our system, and it's not a, because what happens is you may flush one and say, oh, that's it, but then your neighbor does it, and your neighbor does it, all come together, it gets there, and they tend to clog together, and they actually weave together and cause that problem, and that's, you got 100 and how many lift stations?
104?
104 times 2?
Yeah, if you want to think about it, if you went to the Pioneer days or whatnot and you watched some spin linen or cotton together and make a fabric, that's what happens in those pumps when it's turning around like that. It turns itself and reweaves into a larger ball and stops it up.
You ready to move on, Heather? If you didn't put it in your mouth, don't flush it. Exactly.
Thank you for the opportunity. I had to put it out there. It's an important thing cities are spending a lot of money on.
Now let's go to dinner.
You need,
No, thank you, Ned. It's real important that the public understands that we run a first-class utility system here in our county that is cutting edge, and we do it for our environment and for our citizens, and they do a really good job. But I also want to thank Justin Ford, our engineer. He helped us with a master plan and as far as our force mains and all that stuff, and we've worked really well together along with ESG, and we have a very good system going. And I also thank my grant staff, our grant staff. We took that plan and executed that, and you see what we've done. It's tremendous, and I appreciate all their effort. And now, without further ado, I'm going to introduce Skinny, Shane Bass. He's going to give you an update on Wakulla Sands.
Thank you, Commissioners. Name's Shane Bass. Not sure of the title today. Golf guy works, I guess, because I go all over the place. But I had an agronomy class for you guys tonight, but Ned took up my 5 minutes, so I'll try to...
You go right ahead.
Go ahead.
Just no wipes. Heather said no wipes.
I have some wipes in here, I'll show you. Since October 1st, we actually have used 78 million gallons of Ned's water from the wastewater treatment plant since October 1st. Without that, we will not be able to survive out there. We don't have the wells or the capacity to do anything but the reclaimed water. So Ned's a very important aspect of us continuing on, just like we're important to him to get rid of his water as he makes it. We've played about 15,000 rounds, a little over 15,000 rounds so far since October 1st. 133, we're not calling them members, but player development cards since opening. We've had 47 new ones since October 1st. Just some fun numbers. Wakulla likes its beer. We've sold 14,529 beers since October 1st. And
How many you sold since April 1st?
almost 1,500, a little over 1,500. I did this because David and them wanted to see it, the slideshow, before I came to you guys, and I did it with numbers, and I came back and plugged them in, and I was shocked that there was almost 1,500 beers sold from the first day I did it till I sent it to Jessica the other day. 3,516 golf balls have been sold, not as quite as I was sold when I did St. James Bay down in Carabel, but still a good number, just to pro shop's getting its sales done and stuff. And so, go ahead. Our pro shop, we're pretty well equipped right now and operating, not quite as full as we probably will be down the road, but starting slow, and still have some decorating to do, but as far as goods and stuff like that, but we're doing well in the pro shop. We're where we expected to be. First year is usually high. People are excited. They're buying new logoed stuff. We'll see if we can continue that on going into next year, but so far we're doing well. Our snack bar that we named the Sand Bar, we are doing extremely well out there, better than what I honestly expected us to do, with the sign yard being there in the front of us and having liquor and stuff. I don't think Sam's opening quite like I thought he was when we first started all this, but we're doing pretty well. We've actually sold almost 3,800 hot dogs out of the sandbar since October 1st. We started selling Bradley's sausage in December, and it blew up, selling the Bradleys out of there. The golfers enjoy that. And so, go ahead. So now for the golf course, you can go ahead to the next one. You guys will hear everything from the public about conditions and stuff like that, and a lot of them don't really know what's going on or what it takes to do what's done out there, and it's easy to forget how our winters were. We come into spring, it starts warming up, everything starts turning green, but we forget the winter we had this past winter. We had about 6 days where the nighttime temperatures never got, we were 33s, and 3 of those days we never got above 33. This is a warm season grass, which that is not a ideal temperature to grow Bermuda grass in, is those type of temperatures. And us being as new as we are this year, the stuff isn't mature. That's actually 17 green there on the right. We cut those at about 1/8 of an inch is the height that we cut those at, and by doing that, the roots on them are very shallow. Top growth equals the root growth, and having ice on that can severely damage greens, coming out in the spring. And right now, we're just now beginning to see the effects of what happened in the winter. So you'll hear people say, course hitting in good shape, or they're losing grass or whatever. And yeah, we probably lost some, but after we get some better temperature and weather, we'll be able to recover and grow it back in. Some more just pictures of the snow that we got out at the course this year, and just the warm season grasses along golf course, rec park, same thing. Rec park, all the traffic we do out at the rec park is between, September and May. And again, 60-degree nights is what it takes to grow Bermuda grass, and when you put all that traffic on the grass, it's kind of hard to keep it perfect all the time. People just don't realize the traffic that's out there. They think it's just them, and they don't realize the combined effect that it causes of the traffic on the rec park or even here at the golf course. Just some more wintertime pictures. To me, everybody sees the Masters in April and thinks that everything's good and going, and everybody ought to look like that, and they come out to the course and are just not disappointed, but not exactly what they see on TV, and they forget 2 months ago we looked like this, and so, this is traffic, cart traffic out at the golf course, and this is sort of the same thing the athletes do on the ball fields and stuff, it's just where they all come together, and through the winter time, it's hard to keep turf on areas that are, abused a bunch throughout the winter time. Our carts have GPSs on them, so we can track them, control them, see where they've gone, geofence around the whole property so nobody can steal them. But this is actually 1 day's worth of cart traffic at the course. Not much green left on there that you can see other than the actual green surfaces. And this has been about every day. Our numbers are good. We're about 850,000 out there that we've made so far this year since October 1st. Little behind. Winter was a little slower than what we expected. Weather, hunting around here tends to affect golf a little bit, I think, more than I was expecting, but I think we'll make it up here through the summer. But that's my biggest battle out there is this, the cart traffic, as far as making it nice and keeping it nice, is just trying to get people to understand golfers when they're out there, they are thinking about themselves, and that they're the only ones there, and don't realize that there's people behind them, and be a little bit more cognizant about where they're driving. Go ahead, Miss Jessica. And that's about all I got. I cut it short in my agronomy class for
Well, thank you, Shane. Shane and his crew did a really good job, and he's saying his golf course has got some problem areas, and Shane, if anything is wrong, it's a problem. So, but it's as good as any course there is in this area right to this day. So,
if you guys ever have any questions,
Yeah.
or ever have anybody call you, don't be afraid to call me.
Yeah.
I'd be more than happy
Yeah.
to serve.
What days are you closing for the aeration?
Tuesday, Wednesday, 13th, 14th.
Okay.
This will be my last one for the year unless, I usually like to do it 3 times, but we're new and so I don't really need to pull as much as I normally do. So we did it early right after daylight savings time change. We'll do it this time and then that'll be the last time we do it.
Some golf courses don't close, they offer discounted rates, but it's not worth it, your playability is not good, and it's just, people just don't enjoy it, so.
And us being county, municipal, 2 days is plenty. Most places I've been, I'd close for the week because golfers, they'll know we verified. We tell them when they call and make a tee time, but they'll still come out there and be disappointed. So
Yeah.
it's better just to give them the best product and let them back out there after we're done than it is to try to do that. I'd like to see, before we take too many changes, we make it through this year, but I think we're on track and doing really well right now, and I think everybody will be happy when we're done with this year where we're at. Hopefully you guys haven't heard too much bad about out there. Hopefully we can keep it up. Thank you.
Thank you, Shane. All right. Going into consent.
Motion to approve.
I have a motion.
Second.
I have a second. Any questions? All in favor? Aye. Passes 5-0. General business.
Good evening, Commissioners. This item requests board approval of a letter accepting the terms of a grant award from the Florida Department of Commerce Florida Job Growth Grant Fund, providing funds for a non-residential building construction project in Opportunity Park. This award will provide funds in the amount of $3.5 billion to support the construction of this project. Staff anticipates an agreement from Florida Commerce will be back here in front of the board for them to approve. Staff is recommending approval of this letter and accepting the terms for the Florida Job Growth Grant from Florida Commerce.
Motion to approve. Hold on just a moment. I'm going to recuse myself from this one because just to stay informed with all my other recusals. Okay? All right. We have a motion? Mm-hmm. Have a motion?
Second.
Got a second? All in favor? Aye. Passes 4-0.
Mr. Chairman, that is, the recusal is because you have,
Yes, ma'am. I work for a vendor that sells the product for one of the, for Operation Safety.
This agenda item requests board approval of a resolution authorizing the submission of a grant application to the Hazardous Mitigation Grant Program for DR 4806 Hurricane Debbie, seeking funding for a permanent generator for the Wakulla County Sheriff's Office work camp and designating the county administrator as the county's representative and signatory for the grant application throughout the entirety of the application's review and evaluation. The generator would provide backup power to the sheriff's work camp in the event of a severe weather event and provide showers, restrooms, a washer and dryer for emergency management staff to utilize. The total estimated award is going to be $250,000. $187,500 would be the federal share, and the county share is $62,500. Staff is recommending approval for this agenda item.
Motion to approve.
I have a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Passes 5-0.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. This is a request for the board's approval to waive Administrative Regulation 1.03 as it relates to the recruitment of volunteers and approve a resolution appointing members to the Wakulla County Animal Control Appeals Board. Recently, there was a situation where we needed to call the appeals board together. The terms for those committee members have expired. There is not typically an abundant need for the animal appeals board to hold hearings, but one has since presented itself. Staff is requesting that you waive this policy for the solicitation of volunteer members serving on this board and appoint 3 qualifying members to serve in the immediate time.
Motion to approve.
I have a motion.
Second.
I have a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Passes 5-0. Public hearings.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I will handle this one. This is an item requesting you to hold a public hearing and consider approval of a resolution that would approve a purchase and sale agreement with the heirs of Fenton Jones regarding their reversionary interest in the Wakulla County Airport property, and authorize staff to take all actions necessary in order to close on the transaction. When you were originally granted the airport back in the 60s, there was a reversionary clause in the deed that if it's ever not operated as a public access airport, the lands would revert to the heirs. Since that time, the Tarpine Homeowners Association, which is abutting the airport, purchased the partial reversionary interest, where if the county ever failed to operate an airport, the property would revert to them. They would then have an opportunity to operate it as a public airport with proper licensing. What this does is that if in the event Tarpine fails, if it reverts from the county to Tarpine, if Tarpine fails to maintain those conditions, it would then revert to the county free and clear of any reversionary interest. For the sum of $12,000 payable to the Jones heirs. If approved, the closing on this transaction is anticipated to take place within 30 days after the approval. The Jones heirs have actually already executed this agreement, and they've already executed the assignment of their reversionary interest deed, which is being held in escrow by my office. So upon your approval, we'll move forward with this closure.
Motion to approve.
All right, I have a motion, and we have a citizen that would like to speak. Mr. Jim?
Second.
You gotta
You got a, okay, I got a second. All right.
He's
Mr.
got
Jim
a second.
I got it.
You got it, okay.
Yeah, he seconded it.
Okay, all right, fine, thank you. When I read the agenda, I saw this as a celebration event, and that finally moving along with this, there's been a lot of work done, and that I'm a real estate appraiser, commercial appraiser, and worked all over the Southeast and in the Caribbean. And I have seen too many projects that were not supported well enough that ended up not going to their full fruition and not being successful. This project, congratulations for all who have worked on it, and that make it as good as you possibly can. So even though there were times when there were things from a disagreement, it's time to get behind it. It really is. And in that, I've got a little celebration thing here, and I hope I don't mess this up, is that traveling while working, I needed some socks. Go to Belk's, what do I find? A pair of socks with little float airplanes on them. I don't want to, I can't present them to you as a government, and I'll present them to my friend Walt Dixon, who has
He needs some socks.
socks.
Definitely needs some socks.
Bill Snowden
Tired of them, exactly.
Wearing them again.
Don't roll them down, Walt, just, exactly.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Jim. We have a motion and a second. All in favor? Aye. Passes 5-0. Planning and zoning. I don't think we have anything for that one. Commissioner agenda items, nothing. County attorney,
Nothing additional.
county administrator.
I just want to thank Shane and Ned for giving their presentation. That was very good. And Mike and Michelle last meeting, did a good job. You'll hear from another tandem at our next meeting. And just wanted to have this series of informational presentation so that the public understands, you guys and the public understand what all is going on in the county and things that we're doing. But I appreciate our professional staff, and I thank you for everything that y'all have done. And anyway, that's all I got.
All right. Miss Jessica, got any citizens to be heard? None? Commissioners? Commissioner Loho?
Nothing further.
Nothing.
Ms. Russell? Nothing from me?
Me either.
Me neither.
All right.
Motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
Thank you.
Thank you.